Hey everyone, and welcome to Echo Speak English. Today, we're going to learn something that's, well, super important. How to talk about more than one thing.
That's right. Just imagine you're out, maybe at a party. You want to talk about what you see. Is there one guest or are there many guests? Exactly. Did you make one new friend or maybe a bunch of new friends? Knowing how to make plurals is key to telling your story.
So, here's what we've got planned for you today. We'll start with the very basics, then look at the easy rules, check out some special endings, and meet a few rule breakers. Then we'll wrap up with nouns you just can't count.
It's like a roadmap to help you sound way more natural. So let's get started with step 1.
First up, the most basic idea of all, singular versus plural. It's really just the difference between talking about one thing and, more than one.
Okay, let's break this down. That first word, singular, it just means one. Super simple. One person, one party, one friend, that's it. Plural is everything else. 2, 10, 100, 1,000 friends.
All right, now for the fun part. Let's get into the most common rule for making plurals. Seriously, think of this as your number one tool. Once you've got this down, you can change hundreds and hundreds of English words correctly.
You're going to love this because for most English nouns, it really is this simple. You just add one little letter, S, to the end of the word. Let's see how it works.
For example, if you have one book, it becomes many books. One car becomes 2 cars. And one house becomes a whole street full of houses. All right, your turn. Listen closely and repeat after us. Ready? Book. Books. Car. Cars. House. Houses. Excellent.
Now you might be wondering, why do we sometimes add ES instead of just S? Well, it's actually for a really good reason. It makes the word so much easier to say. If a word already ends in a hissing sound, like S or sh, adding ES gives it a nice, clear ending.
Exactly. You can actually hear the difference. One bus becomes 2 buses. See how ES adds a whole new sound? Buses. One box becomes many boxes.
Okay, now you try it. Repeat after us. Bus, buses. Box, boxes. Watch, watches. That sounds great.
You are doing an amazing job. So, let's level up a little bit and look at a few special cases. These words change a bit more, but don't worry, they still follow some pretty clear patterns.
So with words that end in Y, you have to look at the letter that comes right before the Y. That's the secret clue. If it's a vowel, A, E, I, O, U, you just add S. So boy becomes boys. Easy. But if it's a consonant, any other letter, you change that Y to an I and add ES. So baby becomes babies.
All right, let's try this out together so you can really feel the difference. First, let's do the consonant one. Repeat, baby, babies. Fantastic. Now for the vowel. Repeat, boy, boys. You've totally got this.
Okay, our next special ending is F or FE. Now I'm going to be honest, this one can be a little tricky because there isn't just one rule. Let's look at the options. Yeah, so for a lot of really common words like leaf, that F sound changes to a V sound and we add ES, so it becomes leaves. But then for other words like roof, you just add an S, roofs. The key here is, don't stress about memorizing a giant list right now. You'll pick these up naturally with practice, I promise.
And now, my favorite part. It's time to meet the rule breakers. These are very common and very important words that, well, they just don't play by the rules we've learned. They do their own thing.
These are words you just have to memorize, but they're fun. Let's practice them. Repeat after me. 1 man, 2 men. 1 woman, 2 women.
Awesome. Now your turn with me. 1 child, 2 children. 1 foot, 2 feet.
Almost there. 1 tooth, many teeth. And this is a big one. 1 person becomes many people.
Perfect.
All right, we're on to our last big idea for today, and this one's really important. Some nouns in English just don't have a plural form. We call these uncountable nouns.
So what is an uncountable noun? Basically, it's stuff you can't really count one by one. I mean, you can't say 1 water, 2 waters, right? You'd say a bottle of water. So things like liquids or tiny grains like rice, or even abstract ideas like information and advice are all uncountable.
So here is the number one thing to remember. You never, ever add an S to these words. It's always I need some water, never waters,
Or you'd say, this is good advice, never advices. These words just stay the same, always singular.
Wow, we have covered a ton of ground today. And seriously, you did an amazing job. Let's just do a super quick recap of everything we've learned.
Okay, so we started with the simple idea of one versus many. Then we learned the easiest rule in the book, just add s or es.
After that, we dove into those special endings, remember? For words ending in y and f.
Then we met the fun rule breakers, those irregular words you just gotta know, like person becoming people.
And we finished up by learning that some things, like water or money, are uncountable and never ever get an S.
You really did a fantastic job today. And that question on the screen, want to keep learning? We think we know the answer. The rules you learned today are a huge step toward speaking English with more confidence. If you want to keep getting better and better, make sure you subscribe to Echo Speak English for more lessons just like this one. Thanks so much for learning with us today.
We'll see you next time.